Hey, yeah. God, that was frustrating. Like, two different things. I don't know why my live chat keeps getting disabled. We're not saying anything inappropriate, so I don't understand what's happening. So that's been happening every single time, and I'm having to end it and come back in. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it fixes itself. Anyway, let's move forward. Alright, so this is Himalayan balsam. This is Echinap's Ritro or globe thistle. This is one of my favorites. This is actually an aerial view of the plant. Okay, it's a shrub or a tree. It's Cordyline fruticosa or tie leaf plant. The green here is actually the bottom leaves. These are all the bottom leaves. These are the mid leaves, and then the top. This is wintergreen. This is, I believe, a conflation of two different species, Tinospora and Mind. In fact, actually, if you let's see, which means wisdom. And right here, you can see very faintly Sophia, Sophia, which means wisdom. So Tinospora and Hedera are known, and he would have known Hedera was for clarity of mind anyway, as one. So this is Hedera nepalensis. This is one of the East African plants called mourning widow. Okay, Kleinia abyssinica. So this is Kleinia abyssinica. Notice that these are not opened yet. So think about the season in which he is looking at these plants, because it's indicated he's literally drawing what he sees firsthand. Okay. Notice the paint here is a more bluish tint than the typical green he uses. In fact, he even uses blue on the sepals. So this is the end of Primus. I have no idea. So this is the end of Primus. Okay, we've identified all of those plants. So this is the Primus ordinal, or Primus ordinal, however you choose to say it. Okay, the ordinal system, plant folio, is talking about the plant it depicts. While it might mention something associated with the plant, but very rarely. Okay, and this goes back to the. All right, so the purpose of the Liber Talus. I never got to read Folio 66R, okay? And this is me jumping ahead. No, they're drawn throughout the year. You have to remember, he was traveling for years. So it's not just spring, it's throughout the whole, each season. Some plants are brown. Some plants are browning. Some are open, some are closed, some are seeding. So it's throughout the whole year. For sure, not just one season or another. All right, so we're going to read the translation of Folio 66R. Okay. So, enim astrologicos, enim aqua, enim quatuor. So he doesn't use enum to always mean truly or indeed. It can also mean being or because or due to. Okay? And that is how he's using that. He uses, you'll see. All right, so I'm going to read it in English so I can continue forward without, raspiness or anything. All right, so it says, truly the astrologicals, truly the humor, and truly the four. The astrologicals are made of these and of humors, whose cause are the qualities. It is permitted for the astrologicals' work to be with the constellations, with the sisters, with the cause that are of the stars, the cause of them being the star humor. Okay. With this and the cures, since this is permitted, the book of suchness, every year, they are the cure. Here's the important part. Directed toward the labor of suchness. Okay? This comes from these by which the work is done. This is suchness, thus they are. Okay? Suchness is ultimate reality. But what's interesting is that suchness in Buddhism is ultimate reality as it are. Okay? He says, there is the seed of the olive of Jesus, of the son to which Jesus belongs, by which it is made through the elixir from which the cures are or exist. Since the cures are made, as I create the qualities, which arise from the highest. And year by year the cures are made fruitful, and on that page lies the essence, as the stars arise in the humor and through Jesus on the page of the olive. On that same page of the rising of the stars. Through Jesus on that page the cures are made, the cures of Jesus from which the diseases are chosen. Yet on that page they are made, for they are created from the same origin. So he's saying that the cures and the diseases are made from the same page, right? Though created on the page as essences, to which Jesus, by whom are the herbal cures, yet in that labor through Jesus, and through Jesus in that labor brings forth the humors by which the higher things are constituted from the same. Yet the stars are the aster, meaning the ultimate star. In that labor around the stellar ultimate star. And on that folio, or on that page, lies the essence of disease. And on that same page, yet on that page, it shows the Sorry, I skipped a sentence. Yet on that page, the healing star flower. And on that page, the essence of disease arises through Jesus. Okay? The page shows the astrologicals when they make this. This also I create. It shall be whose origin or birth is the same, created on the same page, and on that same page the essences, since the flower for which it is chosen for, the oils from the morning, are the origin of the cures, and from the morning the cures the same seed. I labor these celestial essences from the sister page, the essence of disease. Okay, notice he says sister page. He's pairing the celestial essences with the page of disease, right? So again, he's using the idea of sisterhood, of familial status, to pair things together, okay? And this is a very Ayurvedic way of doing something. In fact, a commentator for the Rig Veda even states that in Ayurveda and in the Rig Vedic text, sisterhood is used to describe the relationship of parts between two things. So now you can definitely anchor him into Asia because he's using this very same thing. Say the soror enum of the plant, oleae anise, right? And so that's what he's talking about here, is the sister page is the essence of disease. So there's a whole section in the back of the Voynich manuscript called the Folio osis, or osis. And he's using a suffix here as a noun. He's using osis or osis as a noun. For the word disease. So he's pairing that page with the celestial essences. So he's calling it the sister page. On the page also, this page of cures, those permitted at dawn, right? The blood is made from the rising stars, or the birth star. There the flower of cures is created, the lectuaries of the highest humor. The cures of Jesus, through whom the elements, indeed the cured, show the curing or the healing. The page of the surrounding pathways. I know this sounds weird to say page of surrounding pathways. He's referencing the Folio Astrologicorum. The Folio Astrologicorum is actually the celestial map. Okay, that is the page of the surrounding pathways. Okay, these are all the pages of disease. Okay, that's the reference section for diseases. And so we have Folio 85V and 86R. This is Folio Astrologicorum, okay? The folio of the astrologicals. This is also a mandala. If you hang it from here, okay, this being the highest point, and the rest falls around it lower, it creates Mount Meru. Okay, this is a mandala. So these are called the astrologicals. This in the center are the 6 pillars of suchness. Okay, Folio 66R, he actually talks about that. Suchness. Okay, so the page of the surrounding pathways, through whom the herbal stars exist, orders or arranges the cures. The curatives, or the cured, show the humor of the curatorium. Yet on that page, it is through Jesus. And there it is permitted, from whom the olives, those same ones, are created. The pathways are made. They are made to be on the stellar folio, since from these, for whom the flower's essence exists, the paths exist, and by whom the flower is ordered toward suchness, toward the stellar page with the seeds. Okay? Toward suchness is the goal. It is for whom the curatorium alone is permitted to order it, the seed. In that labor, the star, the oil, the humor are ordered. It is permitted. For Jesus, for whom Jesus, the stars, this is the blood of the sun, the star of stars, the highest, and by whom the flower of the cures is created. These are annual cures for disease, created on the page. You create the cures, and the cures, having been cured, are made as a curative as the 4, meaning the 4 humors. The curatives are ordered or arranged. The created cures of the sisters. The risen Jesus is the star. Okay? The cures of Jesus on the page is the essence of disease. Okay? Again, disease is associated with the cures at the same time. Okay? This is important. It says, for whom the star of suchness is supreme. The star of suchness. Okay? Remember that. Since it is permitted, which the stars are created, and the humors are arranged or ordered, and all other treatment proceeds. For the cures, the herbs of disease, the highest cures of Jesus, on that page, the humor is also ordered, so that the cures may be, or may exist. Okay? Jesus is associated with the sun, okay? The dawning sun, amene, right? Amene solis. And the olive oil, olea oleaceus, okay, as well. Interestingly, okay, The blood of the Son, solus, the Son, not the Son of God, but Son. It's a play on words. Okay? He's referencing Jesus, the blood of the Son. Okay? Which is neat. So, now he mentions the star of suchness. It's the Star of Bethlehem from the Christian perspective. But from the Buddhist perspective, he's saying suchness. Okay, the star is related to suchness. Jesus is associated with the Buddha by proxy. Okay, so this is the Voynich Manuscript of the Liber Talis is a syncretic work. It's written by a Swiss German monk traveling to the Far East, trying to cipher it in Latin and a little bit of German. Okay, but still retaining the Buddhist content. Okay, so these plants are based in Tibetan Buddhist Sour Rigpa, or the science of healing. Okay, but it goes deeper than that because it keeps talking about suchness. Let me read these last two paragraphs before I go ahead. Okay, so it says, it is the curative of disease, the higher cures of the solar ones with the same rising. Yet on that page the flowers, and yet the star is made. The cures for disease of Jesus, the cures of Jesus are the bloods, indeed, yearly, from the seeds. The seed of the highest sisters is created from disease, bloods and humors. The bloods and humors of the sisters are the star cures. For the sister indeed, I labor this, the cures being from the same. They are among the stars. The rising of these is on the page, for whom the essence is the flower. And by this flower, the astrologicals exist, the essence in the rising, right? And let us pray. Okay? So, it says the astrologicals are, right? But you can say the astrologicals exist. Okay? The essence and rising. I don't think it's rising by itself, but also birth. Okay? So he's using the word ort and ortus to represent rising, but also birth and garden. Okay? So he uses the phrase ort ani to represent birth year. The birth year. Okay? And in Tibetan Buddhism, it's your birth year, not your specific birth date. That's important. Okay? So it's the essence in the birth year, the birth, right? And I have let us pray here, but really he's using Oremus as let us invoke. It's an invocation, okay? But he's using a Christian term in place of the Tibetan Buddhist invocation. I like that none of them are actually mutually exclusive, that they aren't exclusive. Absolutely incredible listening to his words, him blending pharmacology, science, and religion. Yep. But even more paleographically, like, linguistically, like, ooh, this is amazing. It's just amazing. It's amazing. And I don't think Leonardo da Vinci could ever do anything like this. Great, he wrote backwards. You know, I don't think Leonardo da Vinci could ever do this. I think this person was extremely intelligent. All right. Where was I? Last paragraph. Okay. It says the work shows the essence around the same page, and to whom the page belongs, to that one belongs the cure of Jesus. Okay, he's talking about the patient here. The cure will be the permitted essence. Okay, essences are important in Tibetan Buddhist healing. Okay, and to whom the more potent curatives belong, the curatorium of the page of Jesus. There is a page of Jesus, Folio disease, to whom the risen Jesus is the highest cure of the curatorium. Okay. So he's stating the risen Jesus is the highest cure of the herbal right? But remember, Jesus is equated with the Buddha. Not just Shakyamuni Buddha, right? Not Gautama Buddha, but a different Buddha altogether. In Tibetan Buddhism, it is the medicine Buddha. Okay? He is the medicine Buddha of Sour Rigpa, right? And I'm sure y'all are like, well, this is your interpretation. You don't have any proof. This is just the language part, and you're just doing this, that, the other. That's, no, not true. Let me explain, and let me actually show you. Why did it end my live? See, TikTok ends my live randomly, and I don't know why. Why? Is anybody still there? Because it might just be, it might be Streamlabs that's causing me problems. I don't know. If you're still able to chat, feel free to put a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Okay, so moving forward. Okay, so it says they are the humors and the pathways of the created stars. Every single time he talks about pathways, he's referring back to the Folio Astrologicorum, the celestial map. Okay? It's the only page with pathways. These here. So this entire mandala represents Dharma. Okay? And the noble path in Buddhism. Excuse me. It says the curatives of the disease to whom the risen Jesus is the highest curatorium. On that same page, to whom the disease turns, the disease and the cure of Jesus of the olive tree stand in the essence of the disease. So this is describing in a Tibetan Buddhist way the process of how the cure stands inside the essence of the disease to cure it. Okay? The cure in that same place is the electuary healing of these things that are. By the cure of Jesus, I create on the page the essences of creation, fruitful creations, with the curatives that are in that same place. And that work the essence is shown, in that labor, in that flower whose herbs is of Jesus. The cure surrounds and follows their created flower. Whenever it uses the term created, it's talking about the place and the process of what you've already done in the process of how you're going along in the book, right? So he's saying the created flower. It's something that you've already done, right? You've created that, or you created this. It says, to whom likewise the sister is, with the seed of the cure of Jesus of the oil, to whom Jesus of the oil creates the same labors. To whom, or for whom, or by whom, Jesus, whose cure is in that same place, but in the flower, the seed of the oil of the stars labors. He orders the oil in that same place, and the qualities to whom the essence belongs. The qualities being hot, dry, wet, all of those things that represent the four humors. Okay? The humor makes the olives fruitful, in which the curatorium labors with the curatives. For the electuaries are the humor and the seed of the more potent curatives. They are the risen Jesus in that page of Jesus of the oil, or from the oil. The star makes fruitful these pages. To whom the disease of the cure belongs, meaning the patient, mourning, and is among the curatives. And by the cure of Jesus, to whom Jesus created the exemption, or the selection, I should say selection, with the curatives of the flowers. How great the seed of the more potent curatives of the olive tree, the seed that rises in the humor where Jesus is, to whom Jesus, on the page of the disease, in that labor, to whom, it can be to whom, for whom, by whom, so it gets a little choppy. But for whom Jesus, the risen, oh gosh, them, right? The four of them. The garland of flowers. This is the first time we see the word garland. Certi. The garland of flowers. The star creates the elements of the cure. The element, we know that the Voynich manuscript is called a Libertalis. It's the Book of Suchness. We know that the plants are from the Far East, it's Tibet. So we know this is a Far Eastern Himalayan metaphysical book, right? Mala is garland. Mala beads is a garland of beads. Okay? And Tibetan Kala, and Kala chakra is based on Saurigpa healing. So we already know there's Saurigpa. So now we have this level of Kala chakra, which of course was the natural progression if we're talking about astrology and astronomy in relation to Saurigpa. Is the highest, most advanced form of Tibetan Buddhist Tantra. In fact, the Dalai Lama, which was interesting, but I actually sent him my work for his 90th birthday. My book is the Book of Suchness. Okay, Jesus is associated with the star of Suchness, so by proxy he is the Buddha, but that's actually described on Folio Isus, which is, what page is that? It's on there. I don't feel like going through all of Folio Isus right now, but there's a picture of a little baby in green, okay, with a star above his head. That's him. Here's the master list of folios, okay? So we have Folio Nonas, the page of the knowns. This is the page of the humor. Folio Essentia, the page of essences. Folio Amene, the page of dawn. Folio Olei, the page of oils. Ordinator Ordinalis, the page of the order or the ordinals, which we discussed about the ordinal pagination. Which that is a section of what is permitted, right? You have to do each ordinal in a certain order. People, okay. There, we got Folio Isus, of course, the page of Jesus. Folio Aster Curatios, the page of star cures. Folio Aster, the page of the star. Folio Ani, the page of the year, meaning all of the zodiac signs. Folio Astrologicos, the celestial map. Folio Ani Aster, the page of the year star. Folio Aster constellation star humor. Folio Creatiorum, the page of the creations. That's where you start seeing all of the roots being drawn with these little jars and stuff like that. That's Folio Creatiorum. Okay. Folio Osis, the page of disease. That's the entire index. Then you have Folio Opus, the page of the stage, and Opus Occulto, the page of the secret stage, which I do believe. Then you have Folio Ambitus, the page of the path. Okay. Ecclesia Ort Aster and Ecclesia Occidentalis Aster, which are the assembly of the rising stars and the setting stars. In other words, what I called, before I knew what this was called, I called them the sunrise and moonrise tables. But they're called the Ecclesia Ort Aster, and the Ecclesia Via Nobilis is U and an N with a backwards flourish. Yes, so those are all the folio names. I haven't found any extras yet. 13 is, 13, 16, and 18. They're all aspect of completion of enlightenment. So the reason why those would be left out is because you haven't reached enlightenment during those, so you wouldn't put that in there. Also, the 8 auspicious symbols hidden within the Voynich manuscript. Okay. Okay, so all 8 auspicious symbols are hidden, part of the umbrella right there. This is the parasol. Okay. The treasure vase, you get a gazillion examples of this, but let's go to the Folio Craftiorum, so we can see these are not the treasure vase. They're carved to pottery, not the same thing. All right, so we're going to look at, where is it? Excuse me. So all of these are the elixir containers for teas. Okay. I lost my train of thought here. Treasure vase. Okay, and so in Tibetan Buddhism, the treasure vase is called a bumpa. Okay, in Burmese, it's called sunoke. And these are sunoke. Okay, but there are bumpas in here as well. Excuse me. There we go, I was looking in the wrong section. Are on the page of the Folio of Jesus, and the, here we go. These are specifically bumpa lids, not sunokes. Down to create tea, you put the flowers and the leaves and the upturned lid, and you pour water into it, and it comes down and it creates the tea. So that's what you're seeing here. This is a bumpa lid. These are all bumpa lids, not that one, but here we have this is the Folio Isus, this whole page. Folio Isus, here's Jesus, wrapped in a swaddling cloth of olive oil. He is inside a bumpa lid. It's an upturned bumpa lid. So all of the elixirs are associated with the bumpas. Here's the Vajra, okay, the thunderbolt. It's a double Vajra. Here's another bumpa lid with Mary in it, but she also represents Tara. Okay. All these are bumpa lids upside down. So the treasure vase is the bumpa or the sunoke. Then you have the Dharma wheel, and that's represented by the celestial map. Okay. You have the 2 fish. Here's the endless knot, from a Christian perspective, of course. Okay. This is the lotus flower, already in there, with the lotus flower petals here. This is the golden banner. Okay. That's the conch shell. She's both scooping up the tea, the elixir, and blowing on it, which is 2 ceremonial things that are both done. with the conch shell. Here are the Chaityas. You can see them here. These are the more ornate ones. Here is the less ornate, obviously, just simple, very simplistic. Okay, and these women, I never got to describe them in more detail, but these women that you're seeing, they are not nuns, they are not nymphs, okay? They are, in Tibetan Buddhism, what you call dakinis, okay? They are sky spirits, female, that are disrobed, but yet they have flowing ribbons with tiaras and jewelry. And the jewelry represents the transmission of wisdom when they hand it to you. So that is what they're seen doing. They're handing their bangles to the practitioner, okay? And their role is in herbalism and the transmission of wisdom and healing. And so that's why they're making the olive oil. They're actually in the process of helping making the elixirs and the olive oils to heal the patient. Fighting in the manuscript, and that's a European man trying to depict a wrathful Dakini. It literally is the medicine Buddha. Okay. Folio 78V. This is the one I'm petitioning. This will prove that windows. These are not windows. They are Chaityas, from what I showed you just a few moments ago. Okay, and inside them are circles. And the more you go along, the more detailed it becomes. Okay, Chaitya. It's got a head with a dot in the center, a robed arm, a disrobed arm, knees, and feet. Okay. The only person that sits inside a Chaitya is a Buddha. Okay. So these figures are the 7 emanations of the medicine Buddha. Here you can see the figure, but here you can definitely see him. In fact, you can actually see his elbow and the other side of his arm, okay, with his left hand. And he's taking his right hand, or right arm, which is robed. His left hand is not, so you don't see that gesture. That the original Buddha, Sakyamuni Buddha, does. It's called calling the earth to witness his enlightenment, right? But in Tibetan Buddhism, the medicine Buddha also does this posture. Okay, he's calling the earth to witness and onward to suchness. So that is what that means.